this. However, there are also studies where if you do cold plunging prior to exercise, specifically resistance exercise, that it stimulates more testosterone, which can lead to more muscle growth, right? So you have different studies coming out that are saying two different things based on how they're being observed and what eye or what voice they're coming from, whatever.
I can't believe that. Greetings and welcome to the Art of Rising, where we are exploring leadership, transformation, and conscious visionaries changing the planet. I'm here with a powerful brother that means a lot to me, and he's been part of my journey. And I just had to get him on the show. And now we're up with the technology, and we have the army of followers. So, yeah, let's just get into it. Brother, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're living and what you're doing with yourself these days.
Thanks, man. Yeah. First, thank you. This has been a it's been a journey, right? It's been a long time coming. It's been almost a decade, right? Because I met you I met you when I was helping Wim Hof at the event in Brooklyn, and that was
Brooklyn, Williamsburg. I know, and I'm gonna just about. Right? I'm gonna tell that story, man. Right? But it was just
anyway.
Crazy.
So congratulations on everything, dude. I know it's, I love you. What's up, everybody? Thank you for your time and energy. I know you can't get it back, and to share it is really special. So thank you. I'm Michael Christoforo. My technical term would be breath and meditation coach. But I've had the privilege of studying and being around some pretty awesome leaders and pioneers in their field, and to kind of take that and do my own thing now with it and help people has been an absolute blessing. So here we are. Yeah, my wife and I, we have our own business, and we incorporate all that stuff into what we do, and it's been wonderful. It's been beautiful. We built our life around it, and we have a home up here with our kids and her parents and brother, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I see you. You're making moves, and I all your content. I try to forward it and stuff like that.
Oh, thank you.
But I know that you're in Grafton, New York, right? Grafton, New York.
Okay. Yeah, up in the mountains.
Yeah. And I see you doing the men's retreats also, and you're pushing brothers to the edge and beyond. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Pretty recently, what we've really been a part of is. They're doing a lot of police reform in terms of helping officers and first responders get care and stress relief, and they call it CISM, like critical incident stress management, like what you do when you're in the moment and like something terrible is going down. How do you combat yourself? How do you alleviate that? How do you leave it at the door and walk through the house and find your peace and your calm and that kind of thing, be present. So we've been doing a lot of work in that front recently, which has been pretty awesome. But yeah, we do retreats up here. We've been doing more private than public, just because with the kids and just spending as much time with them and marketing and promoting, it just takes its own other world. So we've been doing a lot of stuff up here. I'm looking out in the back. We have there's space back there, but we go hiking back there. We go plunging and stuff like that around here. But yeah, we set up retreats and workshops mainly around breathing, sauna, ice plunging, mindset training, meditation, different forms of that. Around here, whether it's from our garden or our land or the farms around here, as much farm to table as possible, just getting people, good nutrition and just like being more in touch with the earth and in touch with the spirit and that kind of thing. But so that's where we are now, and growing and starting an online platform and going to launch that soon, which we're stoked about, and kind of make that like the home and the hub and do all the in-person stuff as branches off of that. So it's exciting. We're in kind of a transitional phase in terms of where we're looking at our business, and It's exciting. There's going to be more reach. There's going to be more, output. There's going to be more accessibility, and yeah.
I know that you're working with breath and the ice water, which is a super powerful tool, and it helps in the mindset. So I want to talk a little bit about that, right? Because not so long ago there was a torrential rains over here, and the basement started getting flooded. And we do these short-term rentals, and then the water was coming up, and I went downstairs, and it was a total shock, man. And like I lost it. I screamed, call my wife, it was but then afterwards, like reflecting, I'm like, you see, that was not the way to go. No, it was to be the eye of the storm, and I recognize that, and that's where the breath and the ice, cold water helps me. So perhaps you could tell me, what is it that the cold water teaches you that no book could ever teach you?
Well, I think just in general, like to extrapolate the idea of that, I think any experiential thing is going to teach you far more than any written thing will. I think you have to truly understand something, not just conceptually, but you have to experience. I think experiential things are far better teachers than just reading. Not to dismiss reading, read, and everyone listening, read. But I'll touch on a couple ideas that I kind of preach as an idea to like hold on to when you're in there. One, it's supposed to be uncomfortable for a reason, right? Your purpose, it's hormesis, which is a purposeful stress that you're putting yourself through, and anyway, the whole idea behind it is that you're about to do something hard. You go through it. As you're going through it, you kind of, what you're talking about, that eye in the heart, and you find not necessarily like peace, but you find calm. You find calmer within it, right? When you get into the ice bath, I'm saying that's a real stressful experience, right? And when you're in there, the more you can calmly breathe, the more you're telling the systems internally, like, hey, we're okay. We're calmly breathing. Your breath is a catalyst to the calming of the systems. So the more you can do that when you're in the stress, the less that stress affects you. So you build in a stress tolerance. And because you're purposely doing it, there's a vast benefit there than as opposed to it just happening. You go through that experience and then you have to like go back and like, sift through everything and do a lot of undressing, let's say, to go deeper with it. This is stuff they teach in cold water theory, or for me, I learned this with Wim Hof and stuff like that. But part of your brain that is the kind of middle part between your nervous system and your endocrine system, right? Your hypothalamus, it reads environment around you and controls kind of like the effect that you have. So like the amount of adrenaline that's dumped based on your reaction, which is your nervous system reaction to what stimulus is happening in that kind of thing. So the more that you can relax your breath, specifically calm your exhale, you're telling your hypothalamus, which is the control for this environmental reaction that you're having, that because you can calmly breathe, it's not that extreme or not as extreme that you originally that the reaction just had. So by doing that, you're telling your nervous system that you can deal with more stress, right? So you're priming your nervous system, so let's say base level of what it can deal with much higher. That means you can take on more stress. Specifically, what you're training too is like the ability that when a stress happens, how quickly can you come back to yourself? So how quickly can you come back to your breath being the big remote control for your systems, for your nervous system specifically. How quickly can you come back to your breath to help calm your systems, right? So what you're talking about, you're having that an awesome mindful like reflection, like, man, I wanted to get my breath sooner in that situation when something happens. Well, when you're doing your ice bath training, that's what you're training. You're training yourself to come back to yourself when something externally that you don't necessarily count on happens. You come back to yourself that much quicker because you're training that. right? So you work. I mean, you can go into a whole other discussion on like what it's doing for your circulatory system, how it's helping with your endocrine system specifically. You go into a whole other, but just in terms of, for me, what I think the uh, perhaps I don't want to say most useful, but one of the useful things that you get from the training is just coming back to yourself, training that, like shortening the gap between something happening in your response. Like you shorten that gap so it happens and then you're back to yourself. Like, how does your higher self, if I've heard different schools call it, like your higher self, your more spiritual self, your more thoughtful self, your more conscious self, your whatever it is that you're acting from a more, let's say, calm, logical, very place.
Yeah, we do need to be the eye of the storm because shit happens. No matter what. I met this one girl, she was coming to the ice plunge, and she made some incredible breakthroughs. Like when she first showed up, she got into the water like halfway, and everybody's standing around there. And she's like, okay, how much time have we gone? I was like, I haven't even started counting. You're not in the water. She was like, oh, that's it. She got out, but then she came back the next time. She was determined. She got into that water for 2 minutes and then then she was a regular, bringing people and everything. Like she made such, but she started telling me, hey, I'm doing some MMA and I'm going to the gun range and I'm doing these other things and she's like, because things are gonna happen, you got to be ready. And I was like, wait a minute, like
she started listening to Joe Rogan podcast.
You're probably
ice bath, gun range, jujitsu.
Yeah. I was like, look, things are gonna happen no matter what. Like we shouldn't walk around this life, afraid, thinking like I have to be ready at any given moment. But we should train the mind in order to master it. If you listen to any of the masters, ascended or descended masters, they all say the same thing: is master your mind. Everything is happening up here. We think it's outside, but it's here, and that's where the cold has helped me for sure, man.
I remember I was in film production school. I went to a quote unquote grad school for film production, and we were studying Jet Li's Fearless. And I remember this line in there where he was saying, mastering others gives you strength, mastering yourself makes you fearless. The mind. I mean, I work with fighters, and that's one of the things that I love is like to get into, just that psychology of it. And it's like,
right. I seen you working with some high level players, man. Wow. I was like, oh, I love it when I see that, man. It's needed. Like some people be like, oh, well, why should I go into the cold? And I'm like, listen, when you look at high level performers, especially athletes, what happens? They go into the cold, into the ice. Like afterwards, it's for pain management. It's for mindset. It's for, keep the inflammation down. Like, oh my God, it just, it's one of the things that I love about this healing modality. When I started studying it, the science was there. That's what I really love. Because when I was a kid, I wanted to be a scientist, and which I am, right? And I started looking into the deepness of it. I'm like, oh, wow, there's science here. And then Wim Hof was the one that I was introduced to. They, I was in contact with this group after we came back from Peru, and we were talking about many different healing modalities. And one of them happened to be about some guy that was doing the breath and the cold, and it was helping. And I was like, wow, that's interesting, And I didn't look too much into it at the time, but that's part of my journey. What happened was, some time later, a couple of years had passed, I had this dream. And the dream was I was in the wilderness and I was with Wim Hof and I was with about 5 or 6 other guys. And we were running in the wilderness and we got into the riverbed and the ice and the snow in the background. It was vivid, man. We were up to our ears in the water and we had the, a knitted hat on and everything. So mind you, I wasn't walking around thinking about Wim Hof or anything like that. Nothing.
Wow.
So we're here in the water and we were looking at each other, just feeling each other like, yeah, it's good, And then we got up and we started running, and then people were looking at us, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'm in the wilderness. And then I woke up.
Yeah.
So then fast forward 8 or 9 months later, then I started getting these emails saying that Wim Hof was going to be in Williamsburg, teaching a class. And I was like, nah, I looked at the price, which was crazy. Because when we buy something for somebody, we don't look at the price, right? But when we
But for
do it for
yourself,
ourselves, yeah, we look,
absolutely.
I can't
Yeah.
afford it. What?
Do I
It's for
really need
you,
it?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, and I said, nah, I'm not gonna go. I said, you know what? I'll wait another week or two, see, if I get some more signs, maybe I'll accept it as a deeper sign. And she told me, what about the dream? I was like, it was nothing. But then like a week or two later, I started getting these emails and messages from other, sources. Maybe it was the algorithm. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
The Big Brother's watching, right?
The
But
simulation algorithm. Yeah.
exactly. So then I said, you know what? I'm going for it. And I bought my ticket. I got my yoga mat. I went to the location, parked the car. The line was around the corner.
I remember.
I got inside. They gave us the box lunch. It was a vegetarian box lunch. It was
Yeah,
wonderful. Went inside. There was like 100 mats. Like
Yeah.
this warehouse is huge. It was like at least 100 mats. There's so many people. And then that's when they taught us about the PTSD, how it's helpful for that and for depression and everything. And then the scientists, right, the doctor came showing this is what happens to your body and all that. And then they ran us through the thing, to the breath, which was super exciting. And that's when I had saw you and I said, hey, am I doing it right? And then you said, yeah, you taught me a little bit. Your breath, breathing deep. And I was like, oh, okay, But then at the end of it, that's when they announced everyone where they were from. And then they said, oh, Michael Christoforo from New York. I was like, oh, he's from New York? I was like, wait, I got to see this guy,
Yeah.
And then on the way out, there you were at the door, man. It was just, and then I said, man, we're starting this thing, the OMZL Healing Sanctuary. Would you like to come and teach some of the people? And you were like, yeah, sure, man. And you took me under your wing, man. And that's it. I was off to the races, bro. Yeah.
I love it. It's good stuff. It's nice to see where you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a fun. There were like 900 people there.
Woo!
We remember filling the tubs, and there were like, I think we had like 6. I think there were like, I think there were 1,000-gallon tubs, like 6,000-gallon tubs filled with ice. And before, because there were like 10 of us, I think there were 10 instructors or so. And we were like walking around outside, and we're like, Jesus, because we hadn't, Wim he was blowing up, but not like he is now. He's kind of like a household name now.
Yeah. It was crazy because when I got into the water, my mind started screaming, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And there was this woman across the way that was with another gentleman. And I was like, if she gets up and get out, then I'll get out, but not before her. But there you were with the other instructors too. There was another woman there too, just coaching me like, you're committed. You said you was going to do this. You're here. Just stay with the breath. And I was like, and then when I got out, oh my God, I was on fire, man. Like, I didn't know what it was, but that dopamine rush, the endorphins, like, it was incredible. Then it lasted like for days.
Yeah, you feel great. I mean, the inflammation itself is minimized for time afterwards.
You taught me a lot about breath also. So like when you breathe deeply too, what is the truth that shows up? Is it peace or pain?
Breathing deeply is peace. Yeah. I mean, more specifically, like the exhale, like a relaxed exhale. I think that's one of the most powerful tips that I've ever received is just the power of the exhale. The more you can connect your exhale, have it elongate and just kind of, cruise. at the end, the more I don't say the more, but it's a more of a path into your calming part of the nervous system, your parasympathetic state. So the more that, and it's also the thing that when you get scared or cold, it gets taken away. You get scared, the breath out of you. It's like that kind of thing. You can't catch your breath, or you're cold. You just you're not letting.
Right.
So understanding that will help, especially here too, where cold weather states, more you can just relax into your exhale and get a nice full breath. One of my teachers, Patrick McEwen, has a dope saying: you want an LSD breath, low, slow, and deep.
Integration guide.
Right.
That
Patrick McEwen. Okay. Right.
Great. So you want it nice and low, so you get diaphragmatic breathing. Right. a few big things. Three huge tips for breathing. One, as much as you can. I work with fighters, and a lot of fighters, their nose is messed up. And as much as you can, breathe in and out of your nose. As much as you can, breathe in and out of your nose. Even during athletic performance, that's a whole other thing and a whole other training.
Somebody to say, "Hey, where's my guide, man?"
As much as you can, breathe in and out of your nose, into your diaphragm, nice and low, all the way around here. So when you inhale, your belly goes out, your side ribs go out, your back goes out. It's just diaphragmatic breathing and a slower respiratory rate.
To send it out.
Right. One of the ways that you can do that, elongate your exhale. By elongating your exhale, you also calm that nervous system state. So anyway, so for me, long-winded answer to your question, a full breath is a calm breath to me, because a full breath means that
I know that
if you have a full breath, you have a full exhale, or a gentle exhale, rather. It's a better one. It's like you don't want to force any part of the breath.
I've chosen, the colors.
What about you?
The word.
It's super powerful. Well, for me, Michael, the breath work is a non-negotiable every day. Like I may, I'm running, so I've gotten up to 7 miles every day. Like I could do 7. Yeah, bro, I'm on it. 7 days a week, and I often say that, and I don't want to come across like braggadocious or nothing like that. I'm just really letting people know, like, if I could do it, trust me, you can do it too.
Yeah.
And it's all up here. Like I hit the door and the cold wind hits you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck, and I'm like, nope, just keep going.
But I wanted to tap into something that you were talking about before, and I forgot to bring it up. You had mentioned, the studies that were around, like the benefits of ice bathing or cold plunging and stuff like that. There are also studies on the detriments of them as well. And you mentioned something before where it's like, you feel so much better, right? There's an intuition there. There's an intuitive process there. I think that's something to really tap into as well, is how are you feeling, right? Because I'll just give you an example. There's literature that's saying, that cold plunging thwarts muscle growth, right? Now, if you were to look at those studies, it shows like post-workout, if you were to get into a cold plunge, it absolutely does. 100%. You don't really want to be doing cold plunging after working out. You want to be doing sauna work. You want to be doing more heat, more heat shock therapy, activation, protection afterwards. So anyway, if you were to look at that literature, it's like damning of cold plunging, where it'd be like, well, why would I want to do that? However, there are also studies where if you do cold plunging prior to exercise, specifically resistance exercise, that it stimulates more testosterone, which can lead to more muscle growth, right? So you have different studies coming out that are saying two different things based on how they're being observed and what eye or what voice they're coming from, whatever. But you had mentioned, you just felt so much better. You felt much more alive. You felt that much more present. You felt that much more strong, or that much more connected. To really lean into that, more so than studies that come out. There are going to be studies that come out that will say everything you want. There'll be studies that come out that say the opposite of everything you want. But tune into your intuitive processing as well, you know, where you're saying it feels good mentally. I felt sharp. I mean, fuck, that's a good indication. Like, you know, do that, because there can also be too much of it. You know, some people doing it every day, it's too much, and I agree with that. You know, you should listen to that, and it doesn't matter like what studies say or when you do whatever. If it doesn't feel good, or if that's too much, and you know, tune into that as well. Like I don't do a ice bath every day. You know, I do like a couple a week, 1-2 a week, minimum
Right.
1 a week, but not I don't go crazy with it. I do sauna like 4 times a week. We have sauna here. It was one of the things that
Where you going, guys?
I had a build. I was like, man, this is one of those
Oh,
like
Cool.
having a space here. It's like I gotta do something. I have you know. We do that a bunch. My father-in-law loves it too. My wife, and
Wow.
92 years old, he gets in there with us.
Woo-wee. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful, man. You know, I do have a story for you also. I was on a men's retreat a couple of years back in the Poconos, and it was about 7 or 8 guys, man, great crew. And I found a waterfall, which I always do that, like outside water plunging. And we had done them before there, but this time it was like January, right? And we drove to the location, got there, and it was already frozen. Lots of it was frozen, but the water was there. So I'm telling the guys, come on, let's go. We're doing this, you know? And most of the guys said, nah, I'm not doing that. So only one guy stood up and said, come on, I'll do it with you. So we took our clothes off, had our bathing suits, got into the water, took a nice deep plunge. Like, ooh, the water was brick, you know? So then
Especially
we got out of
moving too from the falls.
Exactly. So what I did was we got out, and then I went back in to get a little bit more footage, you know, for the content. And here I am in the water, and I'm feeling it and everything. And then I got out. Now my hands started feeling like slush. It was like, and then my feet were gone. I couldn't get my boots on or nothing. Michael, then I started feeling nauseous. I said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. So I went back to the breath. I finally got my boots on and my gear. Now we're heading back to the car, you know, but now my mind's starting to F with me, you know, like, what if you die? If you just fucking pass out, you know, it's glad. I said, oh, just stay with your breath, stay with your training, go back to your training. So I started just breathing. And then I learned later that it was like, it's hypothermia starts setting in. So man, the walk to the car was like forever, but I was just staying with the breath, finally got into the car, turned it on, put the heat on. Then my body started jackhammering, you know, like uncontrollably, you know, but I made it. But it was close, Michael. It was close. Like I learned, like, don't do that. Don't. That was a close one for me.
That's the fucking ego of the gram right there, son. Had to go back in, get them beauty shots.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, what's up, yo? Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
everybody. Trying not to shake while you're trying to be cool in the water.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I've done that before, man. I've been in the ice bath. I mean, not, you know, we're in a ice bath. We're like, okay, I'm getting ready to, you know, make some content, and it's like trying to look whatever, and just like, fuck, man, I gotta concentrate on my breath. And it's like, you have an ego in there, it'll teach you real quick. You can't, you know, you gotta be.
Have you ever like come like real close and be like, oh, that was not smart? Like,
you want to hear the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life? Okay, so I'm in New York City, maybe a decade ago, and it's in the middle of February, and it's the coldest, windiest day of the year. And I'm gonna go see a friend that's like, I used to ride my bike everywhere in New York too. So, you know, I lived in Brooklyn. I was going to see someone in Lower East Side. So I was gonna ride my bike and head up there. And with the wind chill, it had to be below, like, I don't know, single digits, but below 0, right? So my dumb ass goes out in a tank top, in shorts, and I didn't bring anything with me, just that, and my shoes. And you know, I've walked that before, you know, whether it's around here. I mean, I've walked in that before, and it takes a little adjusting, but you're okay. You know, you can walk. You're still moving, whatever. What my dumb ass didn't count on is I'm on a bike. So I'm not moving. I'm not getting any of this kinetic. I'm not doing any. I'm just fucking being blasted with wind. So any bit of heat that I have built up is just being ripped off of me. So at one point I'm like, shit, this is dumb. I try to put it on like the highest gear. So I'm just like, or the lowest gear rather. So I'm just like pedaling as fast as I can to build up. Nothing's working. So then I'm walking beside the bike and I'm like, I don't have gloves, stupidly, again, right? So my hands are frozen because, right? So I'm trying. It was real bad. It got to the point too. I was riding where my tears were freezing, and the lights of New York City started to. So anyway, it wasn't good. So I was like, shit. This isn't good. Okay, this plan. I have to abort this plan and come up with a new plan while what you're talking about, like your functions start to go.
Yep.
So I'm trying to think while my brain is going doop, 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 you know, all of my heat is just coming here so I can stay alive. So I'm like, fuck, I need to find a subway station. And I'm like, trying to look at my phone, and again, my tears are like, so I'm like trying to go like this to like dry or to unfreeze my shit so I can see. So I'm like this. I'm like, okay, I gotta walk my bike. Like, so I get down to the subway station, and I don't know if you're familiar, any listeners, but it was a little while ago with the G train, which was not a super reliable train. I know it is now, but it was not back in the day. So I'm sitting there, and I have my bike on one of the big pillars in the subway, and I'm just, I'm doing my shit. I'm in the that stuff, trying to like this stuff, And people walking by me. There's a group. I remember a group of kids walking by, and everybody's bundled. It is cold, and I'm being looked at like I'm fucking crazy. I'm like, I can't go out like this.
Yeah, because you were. Yeah.
yeah, totally. I was like, I pushed it a little too far today. Noted. Okay.
Noted. I got it.
Me too. Right. So I'm sitting there, and one of the reasons when you're walking, like, you can do this, and you're protecting your kidneys, which are here. So that's why people, when they go up the mountains, that's where they're a big part of. So I'm like on the subway, I'm like going like this, I'm like doing squats and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, like I need 25 minutes. I can get to my friend's house 25 minutes. So I'm on there doing my shit and like whatever. I got my bike with me too. And then I get to I had to make one switch, but the switch where I switched from, it's only one extra stop there. So I was like, okay, worst case scenario, like I warm up and it's a 3-minute bike ride, right? So I can get out and do my thing. Anyway, train was right there waiting when I got there. Brought my bike on. I'm at the point now where I'm starting to shiver, right? I was past it like you were, right? You're in hypothermia, early, hypothermic stages. And I was kind of past that point. I'm like controlling my shiver to a degree, but you know how it is too, where like if you let it go, and then you can control it, and it's like, okay, I'm stopping, and like you have to be so present, because if not, your concentration goes. It's like you're jackhammering, right? But if you are, you can be on this side of calm and kind of ride that down, right? So anyway, I was there, and I made it. I didn't lock my bike up. I remember that, and I remember just being like, I'll come back out in 20 minutes. Just like, please, no one steal my bike. I couldn't have the dexterity. Please, no one steal my bike. And then. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. These are hard lessons, man, but we have to pay attention because we're fragile.
The ego, man. That was it.
Yeah, the ego. Yeah.
Because this is like 2018, 19. Right? Yeah. So like 7 years ago, whatever. It's like 7 years dumber. And
But that's great, man. The thing for me, after that event occurred for me, like, I kid you not, Michael, I really felt stronger. It strengthened me somehow, bro. It's crazy. It's usually these hard things that we go through that that strengthen us. It's not the soft things. We think it's the soft, but it's in the struggle. That's where we learn, man.
Yeah, it's usually the most meaningful things of our lives too.
Yeah, it's like the hindsight is 2020. Oh, I look back. Oh, of course. Yeah, it's beautiful when you're in it, man. You're like, this fucking sucks, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
get me out of this quick, please. I won't do it again. Or
yeah. And then you don't have those things. You don't feel purpose. You get depressed. It's like, it's like the hard things are the things we gotta cherish. And
yeah, we do. We do. So now you're working with a lot of people, with the breath also, and you're putting these people through the ringer in these different areas. Like here, when we do the breath work, and now I'm going out to other places. I go to CrossFit gyms, yoga studios. We do street events. Like, oh my God, it's on, bro. But with the breath work, we do like a little bit of integration afterwards. I like to do that. And these crazy things come up. Like people come up with these crazy stories. Like for a lot of them, they see the disco ball, right? They see the purple light, this. But then other people get these deep memories that they didn't even know that were there. People come out like, man, I was in the 3rd grade with Miss McGillicuddy. And she was talking to me. And I'm like, wow, man, you should look into that, How about you? Like some of the things that you've come across, people doing breath work.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly happens. Just, I hesitate ever to say healing, but, past acknowledging and coming to acceptance, or whatever term you want to call it. Perhaps there's healing there. I don't know, but I think that term is way overused. Especially in our space as well. But yeah, that certainly happens. I think something that is really special, that is a common occurrence, is people will come back and they'll be like, my anxiety isn't there anymore, or it's like way less, and it's just by the shifting of the breath or the mindful approach to it. You know what I'm saying? And by mindful approach, I mean, like, if you're stressed, you check in, like, how am I breathing? I guarantee you, most times it's going to be high and shallow. You know what I mean? It's going to be cut off from your diaphragm. That puts you in a psychological state that's more geared towards stress and the release of hormones that come with stress. And the more chronic it is, the more inflamed it's a slew of effects that are no bueno. And it's like the effects of just being conscious of a proper breath is huge. It's monumental, and it's so subtle and so small. So yes, those huge things happen where people are like, man, I went into my past and like I saw it. Like, you know what it is, right?
Yeah.
And there are also people that are like, wow, I come back a few months later. It's like I've been really focusing in on my breath, and I got to say that thing that was there before isn't there before. It's like much less. It's not even a thing. And it's like, fuck, that's powerful. That's huge, because you'll have these moments. You're talking about integration, where it's like, you have these, we call them like inspirational moments, and they come, but they're fleeting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the perspiration after the fact that really incorporates the habit into like a permanent state. It's like, or a trait, if you want to do the states and traits thing. But like, you're more, it becomes more of your being. And it's like, to me, that's the juice, that's the power. It's like, how do you, what the fuck is the purpose? Just to experience this like one time thing, if it's not going to last, or it's not going to be some source of something to, you know what I mean? So
especially if you're gonna put yourself in these uncomfortable positions, you might as well get something out of it.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's just go full masochist where there's nothing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the idea of sacrifice. Kathy and I talk about this a lot. Like I think it's Kim Krantz who talks about with her cards. Sacrifice and sacred are they're cousins. They're synonyms to each other. They're very, very close, because it's like, you have to sacrifice something to get something.
And you know
right?
that
You have to
everything from the
sacrifice
brain
time. You
is
have to
good
sacrifice
for the
energy.
brain.
You want to be a good. I know you play ball. You want to play a good basketball player. You can't just fucking I'm gonna be a good basketball player, right? You got to sacrifice some time. You got to sacrifice some energy. You got to sacrifice. I know I was a baseball player growing up. I remember plenty of times where I was like, that's not the right move over there. Although that might be fun, it's not in line with where I'm going. You have to sacrifice things, right? And it's like when you do that, you get more in touch with the deeper parts, the spirit, if you want to call it that. If you're, if you're religious, the religious part of it, however you want to
I mean,
phrase it.
the breath, Michael, the breath is everything. It's everything. Like we could have all kinds of things, food and environments and those type of scenarios, but the breath, oh man,
Yeah.
it's God blew breath in our lungs, so it's
That's the
written.
connector.
Mhm.
I think that Pete Holmes talks about this. He's the comedian. You ever seen him? Comedian Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
He talks about like a conscious breath, and like when you're literally breathing, you're breathing in consciousness. And if that's the case, then you're breathing in life. And if you can do that, then like every breath is meaningful. And if you're, that kind of thing, just like that kind of rabbit hole down there. But it's the connector. I think it's the connector to the unconscious, the conscious, the spirit, the physical, God and man, whatever
Yes.
I think
Yes.
you can extrapolate it and put it into
Some people, I had one woman, she was coming for a while, and then we actually helped her become more closer to God and stuff like that. And then she was like, oh, well, I can't go anymore to the ice plunge that you do. And I was like, why not? She said, oh, because, you do that noise while people are in the water, you're chanting. And I was like, chanting? We're not chanting any, it's not no religious type thing. But there she was, like, and she stopped coming. But sometimes these are the preconceived notions that people have, or they're indoctrinated into. So my question to you is, what are some of the misconceptions that people come to you and you'd be like, like, do they come to you be like, yo, you're gonna fix this, right, Mike? Because I'm coming to you, or are you like, bro, it's not like that, right?
I think the first misconception, I got this when I first started doing stuff with Wim, was that it was a cult. And they're like, oh, you joined a cult. And I was like, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it isn't, but I see how you can say that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, cold plunging, it's like it's so dangerous. It's this cult thing, and you get this like high, and and it's like, well, no, that's not. Also, I understand that, but also not fully
right
the case.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
and now it's widely accepted, and not only accepted, but like,
oh my God,
heralded as like but that's how it is, man. We knew we were 10 years ahead of the game when we signed up for it, and all that shit that was going to come with it. And
that's beautiful.
we were going to be known as like, hippie gnomes that live in the forest.
Right. Yeah. And cold plunge is not anything new, right?
Wow.
So
The studies happen from Sweden are like, I mean, they're decades old. It's
decades.
It's been going on
fact,
forever.
Some of
The Romans, the Egyptians, I mean, there's.
Right. I wanted to mention about the Edwards papyrus that was found in the Edfu temple, that it was stating the ancient Egyptians were using cold as a healing modality. So it's that old, bro. Like, some people have made it popular. Like I've had some people tell me, oh, well, Wim Hof, he didn't discover, create shit. I'm like, yeah, but he brought the science to it.
I credit Wim for the wave that happened a decade ago. 100%. Nobody was talking about ice baths to that degree that they were when Wim came on board. Nobody. I don't give a fuck what even breath work. I listen. I have a lot of breathwork teachers. When you come to a session of mine, there are many modalities that we go through because I have many influences. With all of that, Wim made it. Wim brought it to the forefront and kind of, I know he got some help for sure. Like,
of course,
he got the Rogan bump. He was, they did the right thing. In terms of a business, they are a wise business.
And that guy's not missing any meals. Yeah, I think I was told that it was his son that was really one of the driving.
It's his son that's the business. Wim isn't.
Right.
Wim is Wim.
Right. Right.
You know, Wim is the beautiful wild man.
Yeah.
That, you know, is spreading this
When I met
conscious
him,
thing,
he
but
came off
his
the
son is,
stage. He came off the stage and he was hugging, "Hey, right on, brother!" And I was
yeah,
like talking to the other guys. I was like, "Oh, hold on, I want to get my hug." So I'm fighting
yeah.
through the crowd. Finally, I gave him a strong hug like that. He was like, "Yeah, right on, brother." And I was like, "Oh, I had a dream with you." I told him, and then in my head, I went, "That sounds so fucking."
You're just in his arms.
Yeah, he
I
was like,
dreamt
"Right
this.
on, brother." Yeah, I was like, "Thank you." I said, "Thank you, thank you." He was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, of course." And he's so charismatic, man. That
I'm sure he's heard weirder. It's
yeah, of course,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, I think any leader like that, I mean, be it be it cult leader or not, which I don't think women, I say that facetiously.
Yeah.
They got to be charismatic. I mean, he's charismatic because he's like, one, he really believes all this.
Yep.
Like, he
Right.
wouldn't do this, and he's
Right.
created that in the people. You know, that's what drove me to like want to meet him, to want to study more, to, you know, I'm one of those people where if like I'm moved by something, I want to go meet the person. I want to feel if they're
Right.
alive
For
and
yourself, right.
can. You know,
100%.
I want to feel their presence. I feel like I have a pretty good meter. I want to gauge, you know, bullshit and
Right.
just,
Exactly.
you know, I want to feel their presence and stuff. And
Yeah. I've
man,
read,
one was
I've read
beautiful. I got to spend ample, you know, enough time with him and his fam, and
I
just
did
to be like,
read
I dig whatever from here, this point that I'm seeing how they are together. It's like, it's beautiful.
I read a couple of books, you know, and some of the stories, like incredible. Like his eyeballs were freezing up and like in the water.
Oh, going under the water, doing the frozen plunge.
just crazy. You
Yeah,
know,
it's wild. He's a wild man.
I remember a lot.
He's a wild man.
He's
Yeah.
a wild man. That's for sure. He's all about love and peace and stuff, but he's a wild man.
Yep. It has helped me so much, bro. So much. I can tell you. And you're a part of all that, man. You just stepped into this world and you helped me so much, man. You came here like half dozen times, and some of the guys are still asking for you, man. Hey, what's up with Mike? Yeah, he's doing his thing, man. And
I love it.
and I try to push it, especially if in Brooklyn, because you're right next to me. I put it right away. Go. Right there.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I haven't went, it's because it's the kids, bro. You already know,
dude. You've supported throughout the years anyway, and it's never.
Not sure if
we do a lot of events, so. I appreciate you, and I you know, I'm moved by, you know, your sentiment to be part of it. However, guiding or just supportive, whatever it is I dig it. So
it's
I
a
appreciate
beautiful
it.
thing. Of course, man. Of course, it's a powerful thing. If I had a nickel for every time I heard somebody tell me, "Man, you changed my life, man. You helped me so much, bro," and I'm like, "Bro, it's you." We like to say that we're the ushers at the movie, trying to help you to get back to your seat without knocking somebody's popcorn over.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Why? Because the
That's
movie's
funny.
yours. It's your movie. It's you, man. We're just supporting you, bro. That's it.
I think that's a good teacher too. I think shitty teachers will try to kind of like guide the experience as opposed to hold space for someone's experience. You know, and that's a big difference. I think one's really fucking egotistical and I want to leg kick them, and the other, it's like, yeah, man, right on. I love that. You know, you know, you're holding space for someone to do their thing, and like, it's, don't get me wrong, it's different if you're going, you know, kind of like one-on-one specifically with somebody talking about something specific where it's like, I really want to work on this thing. Perhaps I want to journey with you, and you know, I really, you know, that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like holding space and a breathing session with different people, and you know, because there is this element, like you can feel like a god, you know, you can feel like a, you know, like a deity.
They have the guru effect, you know.
You know,
it takes place. It's like you're just there, bro, and you know, let's not. We're all helping each other here. We're all helping.
But I dig that. You just facilitate the space, man. So.
Yeah, that has happened often too. I tell my wife, hey, look, you know, I'm following some of these leaders, man. When I start, you know, mortgaging the house to them, or you know, let me know, please. Because we can get blinded by some of those things. We want to see all those things in people, And that often happens. Sometimes I talk to people about some people who are charismatic and what they said or what they did, these accomplishments, and then they go, "Oh yeah, but he's been divorced 4 times. Oh no, yeah, but he threw his cell phone at somebody."
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, take
that's
the message.
common though.
Take
Yeah,
the message.
that's
All right.
common.
Take the message, not the messenger. The messenger is beautiful.
Yeah,
That's good, but it's
people are
the
always
message.
going to try and do that. They're
Yeah.
always going to try and bring somebody down. But I agree. I mean, everyone's human, you know. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater is immature. It stops conversation.
Yeah.
It
And you
shows
mentioned,
that like you don't fully believe in what you're saying because you can't
right?
sustain varying belief at the same time.
Right.
Like perhaps, you know.
You mentioned the cult also.
Yeah.
Wall Street is a cult. You see,
Everything.
everything is a cult. Your
Sure.
job you go to is a cult. They tell
Well,
you to wear a certain clothes, speak a certain way. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, we were talking before, you know, I have this label for it, but we were talking about the idea before, just like the hierarchy of priorities. And I think when you put a priority that isn't necessarily at the top, like money, for example, which is the most common, but it's like, it's not the most important. I know it's the most important for some in terms of priority, but it's like the fullness or richness of, I think, and it can get you things. I'm not saying money's bad. I don't think money is the root of all evil. I absolutely do not. I like having money. I enjoy it. I've been broke and I've had money, and having money is far better, without question. I think the greed that goes into the pursuit of getting it, right? The intentions behind it, I think that's where it gets into a troublesome realm. But in and of itself is a wonderful asset to have.
Just like churches and religions too, they're strictly cults. People not watching, but pay attention.
Yeah.
You see, but
They all
then
started out like that. It's just old.
yeah, exactly. But then they start doing some of these things too, nefarious things. Like I was going to a church where the guy, he was driving up with a new car every time, and my mom was on public assistance. I was there with the shopping cart, getting hand out food. I was like, what?
Well, a lot of stress breathing. There's a lot of stress breathing right now. It's high, it's shallow, it's fast, it's panic. It creates other effects that are good. I see a lot now too because people are at their desks a lot. So there's this thing. Patrick actually was the one that put us onto this, but like computer-induced asthma, because when you're sitting in a computer, oftentimes you're cut off from your diaphragm because you're kind of like in a computer like this, and then the breath stays high, and it's just not good. And, so I would say just like panic breathing is or like stress breathing is way more. Is a thing. It's a big thing, and the more that we tap into it, it's like the changes are like, whoa, didn't know that was there.
The mindset. That's what I like to finish off with like that. Tell me about your mindset. How has this healing modality with the breath and the ice and consciousness, how has that helped you? How has it shifted? How has it expanded you?
I don't know if it's because I've gotten older or done it more and more, and we're done it for a while. I've gotten way more spiritual. Yeah. Like way more intentionally spiritual as well. Like seeking, and that could just be my approach to whatever, but like, seeking that in there, like that connection to something bigger or whatever, it helps keep you in check. It helps be present and aware, and I want to give that to my kids too. But yeah.
That's beautiful. That it has helped me also in some of those things. And yes, studies have shown that when men get older, they become more spiritual and stuff like that. But also when you start investigating these things, that's the natural tendency, is you want to find out more, whether you're 22 or 82. Like you just want to see, like, there's something going on here different. You already know it. You know there's something different going on. You could call it whatever. You could put whatever name, and you could focus on whatever God or leader or whatever you want. But it's basically all the same.
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell is a big one. you know, for us, you know, is the hero's journey. You have to go into the cave and fight the dragon. The big dragons guard the big treasures. You know, you have to. And then when it unravels, like, wow, oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. You know.
Dude.
Yes.
Great seeing you, man. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for your time.
Let's do this again, man. We can talk a long time.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it again.
Man. I appreciate you.